Hi everybody, welcome back to my series on movies, 2 weeks worth of movies from the last 20 years. And for this video, I'll be focusing on 1998. I'll be doing 2 videos on 1998 with 7 movies apiece, so you'll have like a movie to watch every night for 2 weeks worth of the best of that particular year. Let me start off with Ronin. Ronin is directed by John Frankenheimer and was an action thriller set in France, starring Robert De Niro, Jean Reno, Stellan Skarsgård, Natasha McElhone, and Jonathan Pryce. And it's about a whole bunch of ex-military guys who now work in the illegal private sector, making money by stealing things and generally being badasses and shooting people. They're professional thieves, basically. The job that they've been hired for is to steal a case. What does the case contain? Who knows, really? It's when I think about this movie, I'm reminded of the line that John Malkovich has in the Line of Fire. He says, it's not a matter of us being good or bad. It's what we have here is a game. I'm on offense, you're on defense. Well, in this particular game, the objective is to simply get the case. Whatever it is inside it really doesn't necessarily matter, just a matter of getting the case. So De Niro and some of these other people, including Sean Bean, are hired by Natasha McElhone, who's working for Jonathan Pryce to steal the case from these other group of guys. What's in it, they don't know, but it involves a lot of driving really, really fast. Some big car chases in this movie. And yeah, it's just a good straight-ahead thriller. Not a lot going on as far as like theme or morality or anything like that. These are all just like crooked guys who are just earning money by using their particular set of skills as they have them, and those skills being handling guns and automobiles. Good badass movie. Next, there's Something About Mary, one of the big hits of the summer, and definitely a change of pace for me. I'm normally not huge on comedy. Every once in a while I'll see a good one, but Peter and Bobby Fairley, the Dumb and Dumber guys, was like, why would I be interested in what they're doing? Because I'm not that big on like comedies about stupid people. Well, There's Something About Mary is definitely the exception to the rule. It's a really, really well-written movie, and is actually quite clever in a lot of ways, and doesn't necessarily rely on characters being dumbasses, which is something that I usually have a problem with. Which is something that I have a problem with most of the time. Cameron Diaz and Ben Stiller are the main characters. He's this guy who had a big crush on her in high school and meets her many years later and is, love struck all over again and is hoping that he can get something going with her. But there's a number of other obstacles in his way, including Matt Dillon and Lee Pace and Chris Elliott. It's just crazy. Lots of crazy stuff happening with Ben Stiller. It's a really, really funny movie. I really liked it when I saw it. And I said to myself, after I saw it, you know what, this movie is going to win the MTV Movie Award next year. And it did. I totally nailed it. I wish I'd placed a bet or something. Next we have Enemy of the State, Tony Scott thriller. Tony Scott, of course, did Crimson Tide 3 years earlier and True Romance prior to that. As well as a bunch of movies since then. This was a movie that starred Will Smith, and it's a good, fast-paced thriller. Gene Hackman, of course, is again in this movie after starring in Crimson Tide for Mr. Scott. It's another Jerry Bruckheimer production. It involves Will Smith as a labor lawyer who accidentally comes into possession of some incriminating evidence that some government official had a senator killed. He doesn't even aware that he has this stuff. But nevertheless, all the Black Ops guys are on his tail, installing cameras in his home and tracking his movements and everything like that, and it just makes his life a living hell. Gene Hackman is a surveillance expert who he comes into contact with, and he sort of helps him work through how to get away from these guys and how to get clear of what's after them. Some good chases in it, but mostly it's just a really great ensemble of actors, really digging into a good pulpy thriller. Huge cast of really good character actors in this movie. I'm not even going to go into them all. We'll be here all night if I have to mention all these actors' names. But yeah, it's really, really, really fun movie. Next, another Robert De Niro movie, Wag the Dog. This was directed by Barry Levinson. Just kind of a real sort of seat-of-the-pants production. Came together very quickly. It's about another sort of shady government organization that stages a war in the news media in order to distract from a presidential sex scandal. De Niro's sort of the ringleader of the guy, and he brings in Dustin Hoffman. The two of them co-starred in a movie called Sleepers in '96, which I'm not all that fond of. Actually, Barry Levinson was the director of that too, I think. Rain Man had won Dustin Hoffman his Academy Award for Best Actor, and that was another Barry Levinson picture. So the two of them, they're working together along with Anne Heche, who also works for the government, to come up with all these ways to distract the public from the sex scandal by simulating a war with Albania. They cook up fake news footage, and they come up with this backstory about a soldier that was left behind enemy lines, and they need to go and rescue them. It's all just basically a big distraction. And it's funny. It's a really, really funny movie. A lot of good character actors in it. Dennis Leary is one of my favorite comedians. He's in the movie. Dylan Baker is in it as well. No, I'm sorry. I'm confusing him with William H. Macy. William H. Macy works for the CIA, I think. Anyway, it's a really fun movie. Then we have The Negotiator. The Negotiator is another summer movie. It's sort of a thriller, but it's not action heavy. It's more dialogue heavy, which is cool. I began to appreciate that quite a bit. The main character is played by Samuel Jackson. He's a cop, a hostage negotiator actually, who is framed for the murder of his partner. And so in order to prove his innocence, he walks into the Internal Affairs office because he's been told that the one of the guys who was involved in the cover-up, who's played by J.T. Walsh, is partly responsible. So he wants answers from him, and he ends up getting into a real sort of sicky situation and takes hostages himself. So now the Chicago cops need a negotiator to deal with the negotiator, so they bring in Kevin Spacey, who is another negotiator from a different district, I think. So the two of them basically, they go head-to-head in verbal combat, I guess you could say. And I was really pleased to see these two actors, two of my very favorite actors, with really strong personalities, involved in this sort of contentious relationship. And it's a fun movie, really fun movie. A lot of good supporting actors as well. David Morse, one of my favorite character actors, is also in the movie, along with Ron Rifkin, a few other guys. Can't remember everyone's name, but it's a good thriller and more of an emphasis on character and dialogue than action, which is nice. The next movie I'd like to talk about is called The Spanish Prisoner. This is a movie that was written and directed by David Mamet. The main character is played by Campbell Scott. He is working for a company developing a new sort of technological process that's never really fully explained, but it's something that's going to make his company a great deal of money. And he meets a man named Steve Martin. Steve Martin plays this guy. Excuse me, he's not named Steve Martin. Meets someone, and he happens to mention what's going on with him. And Steve Martin tells him that he should be careful about this new process that he's developed. They just simply call it the process, because if he's entitled to a lot of compensation for developing this thing for the company, they might try to screw him out of some of the money that's supposed to be coming his way, and plants sort of seeds of doubt in his head. Well, it turns out to be a big scam, this big confidence scam involving a lot of tricksy sleight of hand and just sowing seeds of doubt and what have you. It's a little difficult to explain without going through the entire plot and giving everything away, but it's a good little drama. I like Mamet a lot. He wrote Glenn Ross, of course. Didn't direct it, but he wrote the play and the screenplay. So that was something I was really excited to see, and it's one of the better movies that he's responsible for. Finally, I'd like to talk about American History X, which was a drama directed by Tony Kaye, who went on to do the documentary Lake of Fire, which is quite amazing documentary. Edward Norton, of course, is the main character. He got his second Oscar nomination for this movie. He plays a white supremacist who goes to prison for killing a man who basically stole his car. And when he gets out, he has sort of seen the light and is trying to mend his bigoted ways. But the group of people that he was a part of doesn't like the fact that he's changed his ways and wants to recruit his younger brother, played by Edward Furlong, and just creates a big mess. yeah, it's a really, really good movie. It's a good drama and lots of really powerful acting. Maybe a little bit over the top, but yeah, just one that's very, very compelling. And of course, Edward Norton is one of my favorite actors, and he's, you know, he's certainly at his best in something like this here. He's playing a total character who's quite despicable for a large portion of the movie. But you know, you can't help but you can't take your eyes off him because he's just so intelligent and so well spoken. You know, it's you're sort of torn like, geez, you know, he's just like so charismatic and yet he's a total racist. It's confusing. It can be confusing at times. So that's 7 movies so far from '98. I'll be back with another video tomorrow on the film with another 7 movies from '98. Some more good ones, and I hope you'll tune in for that. I appreciate you watching. I definitely appreciate you commenting. I always like getting comments as well. And check the video description below for the playlist with all these videos on it if you need to get caught up on the previous years I've talked about. I'm going basically from 1995 to 2014. 2 movies devoted to each year, 2 videos devoted to each year with 7 movies apiece. So that's like, you know, no, I'm not going to do the math on that. You figure it out. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you again next time.